Okay everyone, welcome back to another video on the channel. Today we're back on GT Sport and we're back with the FIA Manufacturer's Track Guide, driving the Porsche Cayman for myself at Fuji. The short layout, I say short layout, it just misses out the one chicane, so you take the fast right hand corner instead of that very tight technical chicane. But again, the Porsche Cayman is kind of an in-between car here. It's not the slowest down the straights, it's not the fastest, so it's a reasonable car to do a track guide. It's got reasonable handling. It's basically right in the middle of the spectrum in terms of acceleration, handling, so it should do quite a good job in terms of giving you a rough idea for the majority of cars as a track guide. It's fairly competitive, it handles nicely. Looking forward to this race again. Great settings for these FIA races with a lot of tactical driving involved. I'm not 100% sure of the strategy yet, so I can't really advise on tyre compounds and what strategy to run. We'll be testing that out with a live stream before on Monday and Tuesday night, so check them out if you're interested in finding out different types of strategy to run. But we're going to go for a track guide, try and give you some pointers for this track. I've rarely run this version of this layout because I tend to prefer the one with the chicane, but we're obviously going to be doing this race. It's an exciting race. Group 4 should be interesting how this plays out. Fuel seems to be involved in the with ×4 multiplier on, I think, the 17 laps, so fuel consumption is going to be fairly important, I think, in this race, and it's going to be a factor. So you're going to probably have to do a little bit of short shifting and stuff like that. So if you've got a car that's good on fuel, I think the Porsche Cayman is fairly competitive on fuel. It should be beneficial to yourself. So let's start this lap. You see the ghost in front of me. This is the second lap I do. This is the end of the first lap that I was doing. It wasn't a bad lap. It wasn't particularly amazing as we go over the line on 1:39.3. I think it's going to be. Let's have a look here. Starting your lap, you're going to be looking to brake just past the 150 board. So check out, you've got the 200 board there on the left, and then we're approaching the 150 there, and you see the braking inputs are already going in there. So just a fraction after that 150 board, you're going to be heavy on the brakes, and then you're going to trail brake slowly into this right hand corner. You'll see you're going to start turning in just past that white line on the road that we've just gone past, and you're aiming to clip the apex on the curb on the right hand tyre. You see how we just pretty much perfectly hitting the curb with the right hand tyre, and that enables you to rotate the car and get on the power very early. See how we're on the power. I had to give it a little lift off the power there. You see maybe lost a fraction of maybe half a tenth or something there, where I was just a little bit hesitant in getting on the power, but not too bad at all. And then into this really fast left hand corner where you're going to brake just before that 50 board on the right hand side, pretty much in between the 100 and the 50 board, and you're going to attack the apex again. You've got to get that left hand tyre onto that green bit of Astro. That will help rotate the car, and then back on the throttle as early as possible. You'll see we're off the throttle and then back on straight away, and using the full width of the track, get the car back over onto the track before that curb ends, or you might pick up a penalty. And then through this long right hand corner, we're staying in 4th gear, then we're going to downshift to 3rd gear at this point, because we're going to come off the throttle, just let it coast through the corner and let it bite into the apex. You don't want to run wide out here. I prefer taking a very narrow line and take tight to the apex. That helps the lap time, I believe, as we go into the next braking zone. Braking just between the 150, a bit closer to the 50 board, and you're going to go down into 2nd gear and try and get the apex. Try and clip this apex nice and tight to the apex, and then get on the throttle as early as possible. You want your left hand tyre to kind of skim between the green and the red and white curb. You don't want to hit the sausage curb. That will unbalance the car and you'll lose traction coming out of the corner. You see, I did that very well there on the power, nice and early, and gained a lot of momentum out of the corner. Now you want to stay as kind of tight to the right hand side for the shortest distance down this straight. If you run out wide there, you do actually lose half a tenth or so. And then braking just past that yellow billboard above our head there, you can see the braking inputs going here down to 3rd gear, and again we're going to attack this corner. You want to get back on the throttle as early as possible. You'll see as we go into this corner, you see the throttle inputs have been reduced. We're going to see the apex approaching, and then as soon as we're coming out the corner, we're back on the throttle very early to maintain maximum speed coming out of there. And then braking zone, you'll see that white little bit of paint on the left hand side on that tarmac. I use that as a reference for braking. You see there, straight onto the braking just as we hit that white tarmac, white paint, and then down into 2nd gear, let the car bite into the apex, kind of get the right hand tyre onto the curb or even slightly on that green bit of Astro, and that'll help rotate the car through this corner and back on the throttle aggressively. You want to get on the power and just let the rotation help you through the corner, and then stay very narrow to this left hand side. I don't like to run wide out here. here. If you run wide, your car just understeers. Then you're going to start trail braking all the way through this corner. You'll see staying at like 40-30% braking, it's down into second gear and bite that left hand tyre into that curb. And then as soon as you feel the left hand tyre is rotating onto that curb, back on the throttle very early. See how aggressively on that throttle, that will help momentum now into the final corner, which is very important. You want to brake, I like to brake a little bit early here, and then take a very tight line, but then get on the power very early. So you're taking the shortest distance along with a really good exit speed. So you'll see very early into the apex, but look at the throttle, already on maximum throttle. Get your right hand tyre onto that green Astro. The car can handle it. I don't know if every Group 4 car will be okay with that. It should be though. And then maximum throttle, coming out the corner, accelerating all the way down the straight. This is not the Cayman's strength down here. It's a little bit weak on the main straight compared to like the Mustang, the Jaguar, etc. But we're going to go over the line for quite a solid. It can definitely improve. I think we can get it down to a 38.8 or something. But we go over 39.0. We only did 20 minutes or so, 20-30 minutes of practice for that, for the time trial. So a solid lap. It can definitely be improved. But hopefully that little guide will help you out. Let's have a little look at that lap from the chase camera now as we go through some of the points that I tried to make out in terms of clipping that right the curb here. You see just onto that curb perfectly with that right hand tyre, and then use the curb on the left if you feel you're running a bit wide. Try and avoid going onto the green Astro, though you will lose momentum. And then through this corner you'll see again that left hand tyre almost skimming that green bit of Astro perfectly through there, using the full width again onto the track. And then again, look how narrow we stay all the way over to the right side. I don't like to run out wide, keeping it right up to that white line on that apex, and then hitting the brakes just before that 50, down to second gear, again clipping that curve perfectly on the throttle very early. So important to get on the throttle early out of that corner. It helps the momentum all the way down this straight, and this is a flat out, you know, there's no braking in these corners. Obviously that's why you stay very much over to the right hand side before bringing it back over to the left hand side for the braking zone here, where you chuck it in, whereas that is normally a very slow corner. You're chucking it in there with this right hand, the shorter version of Fuji, and then down to second gear, clipping that curb again. You can really see on the chase camera how I talk about clipping the apexes of the curbs. This corner again, I think I slightly missed the apex here. You'll see didn't quite, I mean we pretty much hit it perfectly, but we could have took maybe a few inches closer to that curb and got a bit more rotation through there. But this corner again really nailed that, up onto the curb, accelerating maximum out of the corner, and then flat out down the straight. So a few little errors. I think maybe a 10th or 2 can come off this lap, but I think a 38.8 would be a very nice lap with the Cayman. I don't think it's the strongest car here, but a 39.0, pretty happy with that. We can definitely improve that if I wanted to, but I'm not really worried about time trial. It's no real benefit. There's no qualifying advantage through doing that. Anyway, we're going to leave you now with the lap driven at full speed from the gameplay camera without any slow motion. If you did enjoy this video, please hit the like button. Also, if you're not subscribed, please subscribe and click that notification button so you don't miss any future videos. I'm going to be releasing these videos in the future for track guides for FIA a little bit earlier to high tier members of the channel. If you want to find out how you can become a high tier member, hit the link on the description. And it will also be available to everyone no matter what. It'll be before the actual FIA race, so don't worry, you don't have to become a member. You're still going to get the track guide before before your race day and when you're doing the race, so you'll have plenty of time to actually practice for these races. Anyway, thanks again for watching, everyone. I'll see you all very soon. Bye, everyone.